stop negotiating with yourself. That's the first and most important step if you want to kill your laziness. Every time you wake up and start having an inner debate, should I get up now or sleep a little more? Should I start the task now or wait until I feel ready? You are already feeding laziness. Laziness doesn't need strength to win. It only needs hesitation. The longer you delay, the more comfortable you feel doing nothing, and the harder it becomes to break out of that cycle. The truth is, you don't need more time to think about action. You need less. You need to cut out the mental noise and just move. Because action isn't born from motivation. It's born from decision. The moment you decide, the moment you stop arguing with yourself, energy follows. Think about how often you've wasted entire hours negotiating with your own mind about simple things. Whether it's going to the gym, starting a project, or making a call, the back and forth chatter keeps you locked in place. The energy that could have been spent doing the work is wasted on excuses. Kill that voice. Replace it with one clear command. Do it now. The human brain is clever at justifying laziness. It will whisper things like, "You deserve a rest," or "You'll be more productive tomorrow." But tomorrow is a lie you tell yourself to feel safe today. Tomorrow is where dreams go to die. If you want to destroy laziness, you must stop letting the future rescue you from the present. You only have now, and now is where discipline lies. When you feel the urge to delay, remind yourself that every second you waste makes the mountain bigger. A small step today keeps the climb manageable. Postponing until tomorrow only makes it steeper. There's a simple truth most people avoid. You will never feel ready. Readiness is a myth. If you wait for the perfect mood, the perfect energy, or the perfect time, you'll never move. The people who crush laziness aren't the ones who feel motivated every day. They are the ones who refuse to argue with themselves. They've built a habit of cutting off hesitation the moment it appears. Think about athletes, soldiers, or entrepreneurs who rise early, train, or grind day after day. Do you think they wake up thrilled every single morning? Of course not. They kill the negotiation by acting before their excuses gain power. This principle doesn't only apply to big goals. It applies to the smallest daily actions. Picking up a book instead of scrolling, washing a dish instead of leaving it for later, stepping out for a run instead of sinking into the couch. All of these are moments where laziness tries to lure you in with comfort, but every small decision matters. Every time you act without debate, you weaken laziness. Every time you negotiate, you strengthen it. That's why the most powerful weapon you have is immediate action. Not tomorrow, not later, but now. So if you truly want to kill your laziness, stop bargaining with it. Don't give it the respect of a debate. Cut off the conversation before it begins and choose to move, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's small. Action is the antidote, and decision is the spark. End the endless negotiations in your mind, and you'll discover that laziness was never stronger than you. It was only as strong as your hesitation. Waiting for motivation is one of the biggest traps that keeps people stuck in laziness. Too many of us sit around thinking that one day we'll feel inspired, that one morning we'll wake up full of energy and the drive to accomplish everything we've been putting off. But the truth is, motivation is unreliable, inconsistent, and often comes only after you've already started moving. If you want to kill laziness, you have to flip the formula in your head. Stop waiting for motivation to give you action, and start using action to create motivation. The smallest movement forward, the tiniest step, is enough to spark momentum, And momentum is what carries you into bigger achievements. Think about the times you dreaded doing something. Maybe it was going to the gym, maybe it was opening a book to study, or even cleaning your room. Before you started, it felt heavy, like a mountain you didn't want to climb. But the moment you took that first small step, whether it was lacing up your shoes, writing one sentence, or picking up the first piece of trash, something shifted. The resistance lessened, the task no longer seemed as impossible. That's because momentum had already begun to work. Laziness thrives in the gap between intention and action. Once you close that gap, laziness loses its power. This is why people who succeed in life don't rely on motivation. They know it's fragile, and they know it disappears quickly. Instead, they rely on momentum. They understand that once you're in motion, it's easier to stay in motion. A runner doesn't stop after the first step. The first step leads to the next, and then the next, until the rhythm carries them forward. The same applies to work, health, relationships, every part of life. Momentum is a law of nature, and if you use it wisely, it will carry you further than motivation ever could. The mistake many people make is thinking they need to do everything at once. They imagine the full picture of the task ahead, and it overwhelms them into inaction. But you don't need to conquer the entire mountain at once. You just need to take the first step. Start with 5 minutes of work, 1 page of reading, a single push-up. What feels insignificant in the moment actually holds the power to transform your day, because it triggers momentum. From 5 minutes, you'll go to 10, from 10 to 20, and soon enough you've accomplished far more than you thought possible. So, the key to destroying laziness is not to wait for the perfect mood or the sudden burst of energy. It's to take action regardless of how you feel. Build momentum. Let that momentum create its own motivation and keep moving forward. Laziness can't survive when motion becomes your habit, because the hardest part is always starting, and once you've started, you've already won. Laziness doesn't only live inside your mind, it hides in your environment. You may have the best intentions, the strongest goals, and the clearest vision, but if your surroundings are built for comfort and distraction, laziness will always have the upper hand. Look around and ask yourself, is your environment set up to support your discipline or to feed your excuses? Because the truth is, willpower is limited, and the more temptation you place in front of yourself, the more energy you waste resisting it. That's why if you want to kill your laziness, you need to rewire your environment so the easiest choice becomes the right choice. Think about how often laziness wins because of convenience. Your bed is right there, so you lie down just for a minute. Your phone is on the table, so you scroll endlessly. Netflix is 1 click away, so you binge instead of working. None of these actions happen because you're weak or incapable. They happen because the environment is designed to make the lazy choice effortless. If you want to break free, you need to flip the script, remove what tempts you, and place what helps you in plain sight. Put your phone in another room while you work. Lay out your workout clothes the night before so exercise doesn't require thought in the morning. Keep a book on your desk instead of social media tabs open. Laziness dies when the path to progress becomes shorter than the path to distraction. This isn't about discipline alone, it's about architecture. You are designing a life where progress flows naturally. Think about professional athletes or high achievers. They don't rely on random bursts of motivation. They design their environment to reduce friction. A runner leaves their shoes by the door, so the act of running feels automatic. A writer clears their desk and opens their notebook before bed, so the next morning the words come easier. Success doesn't just happen, it's engineered, and your environment is one of the strongest tools you have. Rewiring your environment doesn't have to be complicated. Start small. If you know junk food makes you lazy and sluggish, don't keep it in your house. If you know your desk is cluttered and kills your focus, clean it once and keep it clean. If you know you spend hours scrolling, install apps that block distractions during work hours. It's about making it harder to be lazy and easier to be disciplined. Over time, your brain adapts. What once felt like effort becomes routine, and what once tempted you loses its power. The simple reality is this: laziness thrives in comfort, but discipline thrives in structure. When you create an environment that pushes you forward instead of holding you back, you remove the silent traps that steal your energy. Laziness isn't destroyed by willpower alone. It's destroyed by making the right choice, the natural choice, every single day. Laziness isn't really about being tired, it's about being disconnected from purpose. When your effort feels meaningless, when you don't see why the work matters, laziness becomes the default. Your body might be capable, your mind might be sharp, but without a deeper why, there's no fire to keep you moving. That's why one of the most powerful ways to kill laziness is to tie your effort to something bigger than comfort. Comfort only satisfies you for the moment, but purpose sustains you through the struggle. Think about the times in your life when you worked hard without even thinking about it. Maybe it was for someone you loved. Maybe it was for a dream you deeply cared about. Maybe it was to prove to yourself that you could overcome. In those moments, laziness didn't stand a chance, because the work wasn't just about the task. It was about meaning. When you have a clear reason, even the hardest tasks feel lighter, and even long hours feel shorter. That's the power of purpose. It transforms effort from a burden into a choice. Too often, people look for quick fixes to laziness. They think if they get more sleep, drink more coffee, or build better habits, they'll stay consistent. Those things help, but they won't last if your why is missing. Habits without meaning eventually fade. Energy without direction eventually scatters. But when you know why you're doing something, discipline turns into devotion. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and you start saying, "I must do it." That shift changes everything. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It just needs to matter to you. Maybe your purpose is to build a healthier body so you can live longer with your family. Maybe it's to develop skills so you can create opportunities for yourself and others. Maybe it's to inspire people by your example, showing them that progress is possible. Whatever it is, when you connect your daily actions to that bigger picture, laziness loses its grip. Because laziness can only survive when there's nothing at stake. Once there's something worth fighting for, excuses begin to sound weak. Whenever you feel yourself slipping into laziness, pause and ask, "Why am I doing this? Why does this matter to me? Why will this effort create a life that I'll be proud of tomorrow?" Those questions cut through the fog of excuses. They remind you that every action is connected to something bigger, and that bigger thing is stronger than the temptation of comfort. At the end of the day, killing laziness isn't just about beating distraction or forcing discipline, it's about aligning your actions with meaning. When you tie your effort to a bigger why, you build a foundation that laziness can't shake. Purpose makes hard work worth it, and when work has worth, laziness has no place to live.